My association right at the moment with Stillwater, it kind of came about through working with Baer Winery since Lance passed away. And this year I decided to take a Syrah clone out of here and a Mourvedre clone out of here as well, because I'm more of a, Rhones are really my passion, and I think this is a great site for cool climate Rhone varietals. So I'll probably expand a little bit into Bordeaux's next year for Cuillin Hills on this site. But primarily Rhones, and I'll continue to work with Les and Lisa Baer to work with Baer Winery until they don't want to have me anymore. But I don't see, we'll continue to work on that project for the foreseeable future. I think it would be great. So carry on Lance's style, I think, is fairly important.
How did you begin your association with Lance?
It's through Woodinville Wine Country, actually. He was the president of the association, and we joined back in '05, I think. And like-minded, and I like his hillbilly winemaking style. He was always a hillbilly winemaker, and that was it. So yeah, we kind of share some of those qualities, I suppose. But
is it difficult to take over after something like that, and how's that affected you as a person and a winemaker?
I don't know. Boy, I mean, there's a lot of guys in the neighborhood. Obviously, I've known him for years and years and years, and so not knowing him all that long, it's fairly emotional. But at the same time, it was like, I didn't really know, and I thought at the time, Les and Lisa had said that they wanted to keep the winery going, and I'd thought about it for 3-4 days and thought, well, what are their plans and how are they going to do it? And just approached them, and we've actually it's kind of this developing thing all the time. None of us knew what to expect. We thought, sure, we can make an extra 1,000 cases of wine, no problem. So, new equipment, facility and everything else, and to really take that on has been uphill, to say the least, and it's still something that we're figuring out as we go. Cuillin Hills was kind of birthed out of a trip to Scotland where I was married, and I traveled the Cuillin Hills, and the name just kind of stuck, and that was back in 2001, and in '03 I left the working world and went to work for Larry Lembecker up at Fond du Lac in Lake Chelan. I had previously run the shuttle back and forth to UC Davis doing coursework through their extension program, and finally decided that AT&T Wireless was gracious enough to give me a severance package and unemployment, and the rest was behind me. I spent a lot of time traveling, living with friends in Pateros several weeks at a time, and stopping in and visiting my wife every now and again to do laundry for a couple of days and take off back to work. And that was how Cuillin Hills kind of was born out of that experience, and working for a couple other people. I worked at Sorensen Cellars in '04 and actually made my first wines out there for Cuillin Hills, I should say. And then prior to that was vintages with my father and friends, and so it was kind of a strange little road. I think it's more common in Washington than people think. People kind of get bit, and next thing you know, they're falling off something steep into wine. Business-wise, I'm far from a businessman. There's no doubt about that. I don't know. I joke with my wife and my brother, all my family members. I joke with them. I don't know if I'm still doing this next year. It's always if I'm still doing this next year, and they just shrug me off because they know it's. Well, I'm unemployable now. I think there's really no going back. I'd like to focus on Rhone varietals if I could make a living doing so, but I make about 800 to 1,200 cases a year right now in reds, and then 100 cases of white. And but I do make Cab Merlot, Cab Franc, a little. I have some weird sentimental connection to Sangiovese, so I always have like 2 or 3 barrels of it in the winery. So all the usual suspects, and then I'm going to bring in the Mourvedre from here. And we'll see about expanding that on this site for Cuillin Hills. So the Baer project there, the Baer winery will always keep the Cab Merlot, Cab Franc, PV, and Malbec from here, and Cuillin Hills will slowly start to evolve a little bit and focus a little more on site rather than our previous conversation of running about to produce the ultimate blend. Kick-ass wines to come. Stay tuned. It's just starting to get exciting. So I think our side of the mountains and the Woodinville scene of kind of, I wouldn't call us young guns, but there's kind of thought of people like Matthew Loso and Mark McNeely and some other guys that were. It's the big time stuff is still to be had. In the WWC right now, there's I think there's 33.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that. 33 to somewhere right around there. So.
Does that make it easy for someone just starting off, or does it make it difficult?
Makes it fun. We have a couple of new guys that are in our neighborhood, and they're right behind us, and it's great to see the excitement in their eyes. Like new guys just making very little wine, and they're just excited. So the energy's great. So we moved in '05, and I think when we moved in, it was Austin Roe Baer, Mark Ryan, Matthew Loso had a storage building there, and there may have been one other winery, and now there's 16, I think, in our business park, and it's William Church, Arlington Road, Page Cellars, Barrage, Darby Cellars, Mark Ryan, DesVoigne Cellars, Cuillin Hills, Sparkman Cellars, Washington Wine Company, and Edmonds Winery. I know I'm missing 2 or 3. I mean, it's insane.
That's right. I missed your namesake winery. What's the affiliation there?
That's my brother. He used our last name for his winery, and so I'm beating him up for it.
Now, similar passion. How did you guys come together? Is he the winemaker there also?
Yeah, he's the winemaker there, and we actually co-op the building. Totally different vineyard sources and wine styles and everything else, and 2 different wineries. So,
are you guys close?
Yeah, for the most part. I'm sure when I leave here, I've got 5 or 10 missed calls that I'll probably grab from him to see what's going on. But yeah, we're pretty close. I mean, we work together. They're in harvest for the most part, and he's out in the field quite a bit.